Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Christine. Thank you, Jim, and all of the friends from 31st Street. I can't tell you how you guys have literally changed my life, my campaigning life, my personal life. I really thank you for your support and for your concern about North Carolina as a whole. So based on what Christine was telling you, I just want to kind of give you some follow-up. Christine is amazing. She's masterful at her craft. And I will tell you, people have come up to me in the grocery store with with my mask on, their mask on, to say, I saw your ad on this place, that place, my phone, my TV, here, there, and everywhere. One woman said, if, I see you in my home so much that I'm going to have to start charging you rent, because you're in my home so much, from a digital perspective and now from a mail perspective. But I can't tell you how much this has been a game changer for the Steele campaign, particularly because, as I mentioned, or as Christine mentioned before, African-American voters are often touted rather as the voters who are backbones of the party and things like that. And while those accolades are, admonishable and we appreciate that, at the end of the day, voters need to be courted, all voters. And there is a sect of voters that have not been courted in previous years. And I call that the African-American forgotten voters. And those are the voters who have registered to vote, but they don't maybe see the importance of voting in every single election. And so my campaign did a really risky thing in 2018 by trying to target all low propensity African-American voters who had a turnout score of 0 to 40%. And so going after those voters was risky, but at the end of the day, no one else was going to go after them. So it was either us or no one. And so we decided to take that opportunity to go and find those voters. In doing so, we had very, very good results. But in 2020, now with COVID, we're unable to knock doors. And that literally has been where we've had the majority of the conversations that have not only converted people to thinking about voting often and more than just in the general election every 4 years, but it's also helped them to take responsibility for other voters over the age of 18 in their homes. We actually had a question when we went on doors and made phone calls to all voters. And the main question was, will you take responsibility for ensuring that every other registered voter in your home is able to vote on the day of the election? And those voters who said yes had a 90% or higher chance of turning out, and they actually did turn out to vote in our post-election analysis. So when I tell you now that we can't knock doors, but the funds you all have invested in Our States Matter, as well as in just 31st Street in general, have helped us to turn our knocking game into our digital game, it's truly been a difference maker. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm also very appreciative of the efforts. And I will tell you, every other North Carolina candidate on the slate you all have chosen to support is also extremely appreciative. And we wish we could come and just give you big hugs and kisses on the cheeks, but we can't touch. But we're very thankful for your support. So thank you, Christine. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Julie, and everyone else. I'll take questions if you have them, or we can reserve those for the end.
Well, are you going to be able to stay on, or should we do the questions now? I'd like to, respect your time. So how about if we just have, if we just have 2 questions now?
Sure.
And does anybody want to unmute and ask Amy anything right now? Because she's going to check off, and then we'll go back to Chris.
Looks like Harriet wants to ask a question, maybe.
Yes, okay.
There you are.
Yeah. Hi, Amy. Great to hear you. It was reported to me that in a discussion with some Black women leaders in North Carolina, I think a couple of days ago, about the election and how it was going to unfold. And she made a prediction that it was going to be the Black women of North Carolina that were going to deliver a win. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes. First, I don't know who said it, but I concur. I believe there are, many, groups of people who have rallied together to say, we're going to take it on as our responsibility to get communities of color out to vote. I speak fluent Spanish, and I will tell you the Latinx community is also on board with ensuring they vote for someone, right? But the Democratic nominee for president and all down the ticket are the someones that they're talking about. So I do believe that Black women are going to be a ticket changer and a game changer for North Carolina. There are so many great qualities about women in general that make women the ones who are going to take this election. But when you add the element of being disenfranchised for so many years, I think Black women are taking that personally this year. And from what I hear, they're making sure their relatives, families, friends, etc., are showing up to vote. And they're also doing this thing called absentee ballot chasing in North Carolina, which is really cool to watch because they're chasing down these ballots to make sure they're done correctly. And if people don't have their ballots accepted, but they've requested one, they're finding out, what's the status of it, because we can't see the results of the status of those absentee ballots. And there are larger groups of Black women taking on that responsibility as well. So Harriet, I call that person's prediction and I raise them 100 votes.
Great.
So good. Here's one last question for you from Reed Detchen. Do these digital tools get good penetration in the African American community?
Okay, they do. And I know Christine probably has some metrics on that. The reason I know this is because my family, we have the largest Black church in Cabarrus County, and we are getting calls, texts, emails. I send some of them to Chris sometimes because people are just overwhelmed with how many impressions they're seeing. And they're not overwhelmed in a negative way, but these are Black folks in Cabarrus County who are saying, oh my gosh, you're doing a great job. I can't believe I saw you on the CNN app, the CNBC, Charlotte Observer, London Times. Someone saw me there because that's the media they take in. And I thought, well, I'm sure that I'm not in London, but I appreciate, but they receive the app and they're in my district. So it is, overwhelming, but overwhelmingly positive that people, particularly African-American people, are receiving the ads and they're responding positively, but they're also responding almost with a sense of pride that they're so happy for me, but they're so excited that we're taking this election seriously and that other people are investing in my ability to win and flip the seat. They know it's not just me alone. It takes an entire village and a community. So the old African proverb, it takes a village, is coming to life, and it's remarkable to see. But I'll tell you, it's remarkable to see within my students because I've taught or impacted, or touched the lives of over 3,000 students in Cabarrus County, and that has made the difference as well. So I can't tell you how much it's made a difference. So we thank you.
Great.